Jalen Ramsey has been traded again. The Los Angeles Rams sent him to the Miami Dolphins for a 2023 third-round pick, and tight end Hunter Long, who he only has one catch since being drafted in the third round in 2021. Jalen Ramsey has been one of the best cornerbacks in football for years now. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion, he's a 3-time first-team All-Pro, and he's a 6-time Pro Bowler. I mean, Ramsey is the real deal, and now he's been dealt to Miami, where he supposedly wanted to go. Now, Ramsey obviously has plenty of ties down to Florida. Jalen Ramsey went to Florida State, where he played college football for 3 seasons before he declared for the draft. Then in 2016, he was selected by the Jacksonville Jaguars 5th overall. Ramsey had actually a really impressive rookie season. He played in all 16 games for Jacksonville and started in 14 of them. He almost immediately established himself as one of the best young corners in the league. He had 65 tackles, 14 passes defended, and 2 picks. He ended up being named to the PFWA All-Rookie team. And then in his second season in the NFL, well, he was even more impressive than he was as a rookie. Played in all 16 games, again, 63 tackles, 17 passes defended, and 4 interceptions. His very dominant play ended up earning him a Pro Bowl selection and a spot on the first team All-Pro. In his third season, continued to dominate all 16 games. Again, 65 tackles, 13 passes defended, and 3 interceptions. He obviously didn't quite match the same production as his sophomore season, but he did earn a Pro Bowl selection and ended up being named a second-team All-Pro. Then came 2019, which ended up being kind of a messy season for Ramsey. So he played the first 3 games of the season for the Jaguars before he was actually traded to the Los Angeles Rams. In those 3 games, he had 9 tackles and 1 interception. And then with the Rams, Ramsey ended up playing in 9 games with 33 tackles and a pick. In his first full season with the Rams the following season, Ramsey bounced back, and he proved again why he is so valuable and so good. Played in all 16 games. Health has been so good for Jalen Ramsey. He ended up having 44 tackles, 9 passes defended, and an interception, and ended up being named a Pro Bowl once again. Ramsey continued to be amazing in 2021. Played in 15 games, had 51 tackles, 9 passes defended, and 1 interception. Again, named to the Pro Bowl, second team All-Pro, and even more importantly probably to Ramsey, he earned the first ring of his career. Rams went all the way, won the Super Bowl. Obviously, things have taken a turn in Los Angeles since, and even that offseason after the Super Bowl, he actually underwent a shoulder surgery after it was revealed that he had actually played the entire 2021 season with tears in both of his shoulders. He rehabbed, came back in this past season. Ramsey did play in all 17 games on a pretty bad Rams team. He had 88 tackles, ended up with 2 sacks and 4 interceptions. The Jalen Ramsey trade certainly is something. First of all, the report came out. The Dolphins are in talks, potentially going to acquire Jalen Ramsey. And no joke, I think it might have been less than 10 minutes. Jalen Ramsey has been traded to the Dolphins. And the trade initially, I mean, it makes sense. The Dolphins could use some corner help. The Rams are essentially just a mess. We'll get back to how bad the Rams are. But just with the before details of just Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins, it's like, all right, this makes sense. Let's look at some more details. And once I saw them, I was shocked. I get it. LA wanted to get Jalen Ramsey's contract off the books, but it makes no sense that all he went was for a third-round pick and a backup tight end who's caught 1 pass. Now, I don't know much about Hunter Long. I watched him a little bit when he was at Boston College, but, he's been in the league for 2 years now. Obviously, he was the backup for the Dolphins behind Mike Gesicki, but it sounds like maybe the Rams like Hunter Long. I think it's very possible that maybe when they were scouting for the draft and really looking at different guys, maybe Hunter Long is a guy that they kind of caught their eye on and kind of stuck with for a little bit. But let's get back to the main compensation, which is that third round pick. Jalen Ramsey is a guy that I do still consider to be probably a top 5 to 10 corner in the NFL. So the fact that he only fetched a third doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think a lot of teams would have been completely open to that. And that leaves one of the other interesting wrinkles, and that is, where did Jalen Ramsey want to go? The Rams wanted to make good by Jalen Ramsey, send him wherever he wanted to go. And I wouldn't be shocked if that was Miami. Obviously, he already has a lot of ties to Florida. And if that is where he ultimately wanted to go, I guess the Rams kind of took that request and ran with it. And, good on them if that's what they did. But only getting the third round for Jalen Ramsey, I think at that point, I'd just be like, forget it. I'm going to stick with him. I'll pay him the money. We're going to suck anyway next year, probably. I'd rather just hold on to him than get a third round pick for him. Now, it's no secret, I do really like Jalen Ramsey. I think he's one of those players that gets a lot more flack than he probably should. He doesn't have a lot of interceptions. Jamal Adams always kind of had the same issue. That is true. They're also not getting thrown the ball that much. Ramsey is somebody that I think has been very good for a long time. Down the stretch of that 2021 season when the Rams actually won it all, I don't think he played his best football. I don't think Matthew Stafford played his best football. They still won the Super Bowl, but I didn't think either one of them were great. And then after the Super Bowl, they both get surgery, so that probably did play a big role. I think Ramsey's still going to be great. He's only 29 years old. He has a lot of good football left. And what does that mean for the Miami Dolphins? It means the Dolphins are going to have a pretty solid defense. Now, I think a lot of people, you hear Jalen Ramsey's coming to Miami, you're automatically thinking, we now have a good corner duo. We have Jalen Ramsey and we have Xavier Howard. Here's the problem, is that Xavier Howard was terrible last year. He was awful. Xavier Howard had a really down year compared to what we're used to from him. Hopefully he can bounce back. If Xavier Howard can bounce back, Jalen Ramsey plays up to the level that we've grown accustomed to and know that he can play at, I think the Dolphins defense is going to be really good, because last year, one of the big issues was stopping the pass. If you can figure that out by bringing in Jalen Ramsey, all of a sudden the Dolphins, I think, are going to be really, really good. I think last year they were really, really good. I think people kind of gloss over how good they were when Tua Tagovailoa was actually playing. The Dolphins did just also decide to pick up his fifth-year option, which I think is the completely correct move there. Tua had a good season last year. I know there's a lot of concerns. I'm definitely worried about the concussion stuff and everything, but if he does come back, I think last year with the Mike McDaniel scheme and then Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think, there was a lot of things that were proven last year. But I think if Miami has a great defense, they already have some great offensive pieces, and Mike McDaniel can continue to scheme up for Tua, who I think is good. I don't think Tua is like a top guy in the league, but I think Tua, it feels like everybody talked to about Tua Tagovailoa. Either he's wildly overrated or wildly underrated. I feel like he's one of the guys that doesn't really get a fair rating, whichever way that may be. That does finally leave the Rams in their situation. Like I said, if I would have known that I was only getting a third-round pick for Jalen Ramsey, I probably would have just held on to him. Now, of course, you don't want him all upset and, a locker room issue, because you already have plenty of problems. But it seems like Los Angeles is in a bit of a hole. We talked for so long about how, the salary cap isn't real. The Rams just continue to make moves. It's not real. It doesn't matter. Turns out it probably is real. Everything's kind of coming back and biting them in the ass right now. The Matthew Stafford deal after winning the Super Bowl looks really rough now. Who knows, what his health looks like at this point. If you just look around the Rams roster, it's kind of just like, these guys are really bad. It's a bad roster. It's a bad team. You have Aaron Donald, you have Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Jalen Ramsey. You have some stars, but the people playing around those stars are not up to par with what you need. Luckily, the NFC is kind of weak. It's like top heavy, I'd say. I don't think it would have been out of the realm of the possibility for a healthy Stafford to somehow sneak into a wild card spot. But it seems like the Rams know that they're going to be pretty bad for the coming years. They have to start shipping people away. Obviously, they don't have first round picks because they sent them all away. So best thing to do, recoup some other picks, get some third round guys in there. I understand why the Rams had to trade Jalen Ramsey. I don't think it makes a ton of sense. I can't believe they only got a third. But at the end of the day, good for the Dolphins. I think they could be a really, really good team next year if Tua can come back healthy. I love the move for the Dolphins. I'm excited for Jalen Ramsey. I'm excited for Miami. And we'll see how this trade looks in about a year or two.